it visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So yesterday we had done, consumer, what is integrated marketing, and then how does the communication happen and all. So if in marketing we need to, I mean, communication, as I've told you, is the weapon with which marketing people operate. So now we have understood. I've sent the PPT. If you can go through it, or if you have gone through it, and if there are any questions, please ask me. Otherwise, we'll go into this. Nagmani, I'm waiting for your answer.
Sir.
So if it is, you don't have any questions.
No, sir. I'm going through the slides, sir. It's till don't know doubts, sir.
Okay, fine. Now, we all, whenever we get information, we process it. Like, you meet somebody, so you make a first impression, and internally you have something saved, so you compare with that, and from your past experiences you say whether the person is good or bad. Like that also the customer makes, he kind of tries to understand and make a process the information that is given to him. So information giving and information taking is actually what communication consists of. So there are certain theories which are important for marketing people, or for that matter anybody who is in business, or who is in, in like in your case, in government, to understand. So there are two major very popular theories that are important. One is multi-store model of communication or information processing, which was given by Atkinson and Shiffrin. And the other one is working memory model, given by Badley and Hitch. Now, basically, this is a diagram of a brain, and you can see the yellow is explicit, and the blue is implicit. So we all have something which we express, which is a surface, and which can be seen, or which can be, if you're meeting a person and if he's angry, then his face expression differs. Or if he's not happy, you can make out without him speaking. So those are the implicit ones, or those are, sorry, the explicit ones. The implicit ones are the ones that he does not let you know. So it is important for marketing people to understand his thinking.
Okay.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So basically, as we said, marketing is about creating resonance. So you can only create resonance when you can address both his explicit and his implicit, behavior or thinking. So when you are saying something like, let's say there is a beautiful, let's say a beautiful sari. Okay, all the material is good, the work done on that is good, etc., etc. Okay, so you will call it beautiful, but you don't like the color, so you don't express it. Okay, so that will become implicit. But if as a marketer you come to know, or like in the case of Mandal, you may have an excellent scheme. Okay, so they will say very good, very good, very good. But if it is put in a way and they feel that they cannot talk about it, then they keep the people would tend to keep that within themselves. Now it is your job, if you want to motivate them, to find out those inner feelings as well. You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this model, the Atkinson and Shiffrin model, has three parts. One is a sensory memory. Sensory memory is, say, suppose somebody were to pinch you, you react to it because there is a sensation. Okay. Then, or somebody were to come and, you know, let's say somebody slaps me, I would wince because it hurt me. So that's out of a sense. So they say, like, when you serve food, okay, so food by its taste itself is not enough. It has to look good, which is sensory. It has to smell good, which is sensory, right? So that is how, that is one part which is taken into account when the customer is processing the information. You may have the best quality stuff, but if it is looking ugly, or if it has a color which revolts me, uh, then I may not like it. Then there are something known as a short-term memory or the working memory. I mean, there are things that we do and then we forget. You know, we are doing something and we finish the job and it's forgotten. And then there are long-term memory. This comes out of a series of the same short-term memory being repeated again and again. Now that is stored in our inner conscience. Okay. And that, basically, when we go and experience the same set of situations again, we tend to compare it with what was there, and that is what forms a perception. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So again, you may have experienced, all of us experience it at some time or the other. Let's say you are standing in a hall or traveling in a train or going in a bus, and you see a person, who's quite distant and you don't know him. You may instantly like him and may want to become friends with him, or you may completely dislike him for, he has not done anything, but you want to, probably, if it is possible, you want to hit him. So this kind of thing happens because of a long-term memory, where our memory cells compare it to some unpleasant or pleasant experience we have had in the past. You know, like, maybe when you first met your boss, you would have compared it with something that may have happened in your personal life, and liked him or disliked him, or liked him moderately or disliked him moderately. Okay, so those are long term memories. Now in marketing, we have to take care of all these three parts. So if we are serving a product or a service, it has to be attractive to, jog the sensory memory. It has to be immediately gratifying to give a short-term memory, and it has to leave a mark so that the customer comes back to you, or he tries to tell his friends that this is good. Okay, yesterday you were not there, we talked about evangelism. So he becomes your evangelist, right? The other thing, Badley and Hitch included about, they went deeper. So they said that there is a central executive, which is the brain, where all the information goes. Then there are phonological loops. It goes through, uh, you know, various processes within the brain. Okay, that creates a short-term memory. And there is, if that is rehearsed, now this is what training is about. Like in the armed forces, when they are not fighting a war, the soldiers are training all the time, so it becomes a part of their long-term memory and they act naturally. So, and then there is a visual sketch pad, which is what I just told you about. So basis that, we kind of create within us a vision of what the situation is and compare it with what we are seeing right now, right? And then there is a apodiscal, buffer, which means there are times when we, kind of stop by and try to retrieve information from our brain. Okay, and then compare it.
Okay.
You understand? So
Yes,
these
sir.
are the two models. There are lot many other models. These are two important models from marketing standpoint.
Okay.
Now, what are the benefits? I'll try to switch off my mobile because okay. So these are some of the benefit. One is acquisition of new information and then retrieval at the right time. Then it storage of that kind of information. Then it is transformative. Now, if you've got some new experience, like let's say I came from a village, I came to a metropolitan town, I met people and saw some better lifestyle, or I felt that that would be good because it measured up to some of the other things. So I kind of transform myself. And then finally, and this is the most important, transmission. Once I get a, I mean, it is important from marketing point. If I get a very good feeling of the product or the service that I've got, then I will tend to talk about it with my friends, relatives, or whoever. Okay. On the right side, it is just an explanation of these 3 points. Okay. This slide has been repeated. Okay. So information theory and what are its competitive, hello, hello.
Sir.
Yeah. Information. Now, what are the uses of this theory? One, of course, we are just discussing. It is in business. Okay. The second one, also important for marketing, is in the family units. Okay. If we can understand, let's say mother, father, and 2 children, as I've shown in the picture, how their behavior, I mean, as an individual, I might, being a father, I might behave as an individual differently. But when I'm in a family situation, I might behave differently. Okay. And then now this new technology is coming called artificial intelligence. In fact, there is a new school that is coming up, and it is called neuro marketing, which is really probing you inside out. Okay. So these are the 3 areas where it is being used, and research is underway all the time in this.
Okay.
So this is how the information is processed. So any questions so far?
No. Okay. Clear, sir.
Okay. Now let us look at, you and I have been customers, okay, or consumers. Okay. So we now process the information to decide whether we want to buy something or we don't want to buy. Right? Okay. Even if you want to buy potatoes for 20 rupees a kg, you go through this process intuitively without realizing. And if you're wanting to buy, let's say, a apartment house or a bungalow, this whole process is slower, and you go through the process. The process is the same whether you're buying a 5 rupee thing or whether you're buying something for 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, right?
Okay.
So the process of the steps are, first is problem or a need recognition. Okay, the problem is a need, is something which is also known as a pain point. Okay. So you have the money and now you think my house where I'm living is smaller or it is rented. I want to shift to a place of my own. Okay. So that is a need, or that's a problem. That's a pain point that you have developed yourself. The customer will develop that himself, that I need a house, or I need a car, or I need a whatever. I need food. I need to go to a restaurant, I need education, whatever. So that's a problem. Basis that once you have recognized that, okay, you need a particular product, which may be a good or a service, you then start looking for information. Where can you get it? What are the specs that you want? Okay, in a B2B situation, this is where governments or large, like your department, would float an RFI, that is request for information. Okay. Okay. And then basis that, you now get into what is known as evaluating alternatives, like, you may be getting something in Secunderabad, something in some palli. There are a lot of pallis there. So you are looking at that, and then you are evaluating that, okay, if I take there, then going to my office will take me so much more, traffic will be like this, petrol expense will increase. But if I take it and pay a little extra there, I might just be there 2 minutes away from office, but my children's school will be far. So those are the alternatives that you start evaluating. This is exactly the point when, in the government or in large organizations, you take an RFP, which is a request for proposal, where the seller, this is the point at which the sellers start uh, coming and saying why we are the best.
Okay.
Okay, why we could suit you best.
Okay.
Basis these comparison, you are now in a position to make a purchase decision.
Okay.
So you place an order. Okay, and after you've got the product, uh, and you have paid the money, for the marketing people, it is still very important that how would you evaluate the product, which means the promises that the product made during the proposal, during the sales period. How satisfied or unsatisfied are you? Did I live up to the promise? Did I do that extra? So there is something known as finding out the customer satisfaction. In fact, customer satisfaction now is a historical thing. Now we think in terms of how you can create a customer delight. Okay, so these are the 5 steps. We will discuss them one by one. Okay. So first step is need recognition. This is the time when your internal feelings and external feelings are, I mean, if you first decided or thought of buying let's say a car, you externally you will go and look around, internally you will reevaluate your needs, that whether I should go for a small car or a big car, I need this, I need that. So once and that then becomes your want. I want a small car. It's not a need anymore. And want, when it converts into you actively going, just like many customers going, that converts into what is known as a demand. So here is a small cartoon I've put, that when you are thirsty, it is your need, okay, that you want water. Okay, now similarly, so how can you influence? And this is when you can think of how you can influence a customer. So if, again, going back to that Atkinson theory, what are the stimuli I give, which is done by advertisement, which is done by email, which is done by social media, that you can excite that, look, so many people are buying. When, if you go to an e-commerce site, you sometimes when you are looking at thing, 5 people bought it in last half an hour, then one person just bought. So idea is to keep motivating you. So here is an example. Winter is coming, and this particular customer has several light jackets, but he will still need a heavy duty one. Now, say suppose Nagmani, you come to Delhi in winters. Now in Hyderabad or in Pune, we are not used to wearing very heavy woolens. But if in winter you have to go for some conference, okay, Modi ji has called and your department deputes you. So that time you need to at least get a coat, a heavy woolen is going to be necessary, else you'll fall ill. Right. Okay. So then if I'm wanting, if I come to know of your need, then I would try and develop my brand offering in such a way that I am able to convince that my brand is the one that will do the job best. Okay, every company will do. So you have to, that is what yesterday, if you were there, you would have known that you need to set yourself out. Okay, so your proposition should be the best. It is quite like, let's say in a personal situation, sorry, I mean, I'm just giving an example, so please don't take it too personally. So when you decided to get married, from
Mm.
all that you heard, all the internal long-term memories you had, there must have been a kind of a picture that you got that this would be my right kind of a partner,
Okay.
right? Now now there will be so many suitors who would have come to you. Okay. Now each one is going to try to impress you that he is the best brand, he's the man. All
Okay.
right. So that is what happens, and at this stage, so that is done by a one-way communication through various mediums, ads
Mm.
in TV, hoardings, emails, leaflets, throwing, distributing, to make you aware that look, you are available and this is what you can do. So that is at the need recognition level. That's all that marketing can do.
Okay.
Then comes the information search. So
Mm.
here the customer, now once he comes to know, okay, that is the need I have. So in the need recognition step, you are trying to stimulate that look, you need to get married and I'm the best person. But
Okay.
here information search, then you also want to find out what is the guy earning, what are his good habits, bad habits from other sources, and
Mm.
what should be the ideal, because you want to be socially acceptable, right?
Okay.
This is not a personal thing. Same thing happens in a product or a service.
Mm.
Okay. So here is an example. The customer searches a men's winter coat on Google or on any Amazon and sees what options are there for him. When
Okay.
he sees someone with, so then what do? You go to Amazon, you like something, but you still want to find out. So you read some reviews.
Okay.
Okay. So you kind of try to search and compare products.
Mm.
Okay. Now at this time, you have to be truthful and you have to give the best possible answer, because you want the customer to begin to trust you.
Okay.
Okay. So if you give fake information, and if you if it was given to some other customer, then it is highly unlikely that you will believe, because you have to spend money, right?
Okay. Mm.
So what you are trying to do is at that particular time create a funnel of
Okay.
prospective customer. You remember we talked about suspecting and prospecting.
Mm.
So you are now got those who came to this information search stage. You may say that if you want to know more about or something like that, or give them a hook that we can give you something for free or something like that. And if you give us your details, so you have got a lot of people in the funnel, in the upper end of the funnel where it's broad.
Okay.
Now you are going to communicate through mails, through telephone, through whichever means is appropriate for that a person like that. Okay.
Okay.
To go and tell them that okay, now I'm giving you further information, and these are the features, these are the attributes or advantages, and therefore this is the benefit that you will get.
Okay.
Okay. Now before doing that, you are automatically try and study that customer. We'll come to this more in greater detail, maybe in the next session. Okay.
Okay.
So this is the information search. Now you've got alternatives, like we said, that you want an apartment at, Lingampalli, or you want it near Begumpet, or you want it in Secunderabad, or whatever. Okay, I
Okay.
mean, I know just these three places, so I'm I'm saying that. Now those are the three brands. Okay, then you take the brand of the builders that are there. That's the first elimination, and then these are the criteria that come in. First, lower price. Okay, additional product benefits that can come through to you, or something as personal as color or style or options. Okay,
Mm.
so it may be red color, it may be styled differently, you know so it may be a duple, whatever. So all that factors are now being evaluated.
Okay.
Okay, so marketing material at this particular stage, the salesman is now going to be active. So all the marketing collaterals or all the marketing material, that means brochure, uh, leaflet, photographs, whatever
Okay.
the company has, now must be completely uh, with the salesperson, and he must also know what the competitor does. Okay,
Mm.
so that you are able to, without criticizing the competitor, able to say how you are better.
Okay.
You can only say how you're better by looking at what the competitor is doing and then talk about your advantages. Okay.
Okay.
So the customer now compares a few brands that he likes. He knows that he wants a brightly colored coat that will complement the rest of his wardrobe. And though he would rather spend less money,
Mm.
he also wants it to be trendy. He also wants to be in fashion.
Okay.
Okay. And he also wants that to be durable. Okay.
Mm.
Middle class people like us can't buy an expensive coat every time. Okay. So if the quality is very good, we don't mind paying a little extra. Often you must have heard when you're going to shop and you say, "Ki, I'm getting this cheaper somewhere else." The
Mm.
shopkeeper would say, "Ki, sir, wo quality mein farak hai." There's a difference in the quality.
Okay, sir.
So those are the processes that will come into the mind of the customer, and a good salesman should be able to tackle those objections.
Mm.
Okay. Then comes the purchase decision.
Mm.
Okay. You decide to purchase. Now, let's say you want to buy a, a coat or maybe a fridge or something. So you have to go to Delhi about 4 months from now, when it will be peak winter.
Mm.
So you wait it out because you know that that brand comes up with some sale or something, some discount.
Okay.
Okay. So the moment it comes and you get your favorite color blue, okay, you simply take it for that discount.
Okay.
So after you've verified everything, now you've taken a decision to buy that particular coat.
Okay.
All right. So that is the purchase decision. So you've gone there, taken the thing, like in the cartoon, you can see one pink one green one. Okay. Now the lady liked the green one. So there you've got a right. Okay. So she tells the sales girl that please give me this. All right. So again, try and realize that product quality, etc., are fine, but you are buying a value, okay, an experience. So that is why a customer goes through these processes.
Okay.
Okay. Then you get into after the purchase decision is made,
Mm.
uh,
Post.
you you kind of get into post purchase evaluation. After you've bought the coat, you try and wear it, you try and feel how comfortable it is while you tried it there, but it was not the same thing as trying it and wearing it for a full day, let's say. Then how were you treated? You would think about when you went to the showroom and you bought, how were you treated? It might be a good coat, but if the people were rude, then you will remember that and you will tell your friends or your relatives that this coat is good, but that's not the right shop to go. You must try and find some other place. So here are the questions. Did the purchase meet the needs of the customer as identified? You remember the problems that you were trying to solve, that the problem is going to Delhi in winter and you don't have heavy woolens. So did it meet your need? Once you use it, say even after 4 months when you go to Delhi, if you still are going to feel cold, then it is not meeting your need 100%, right? Okay. Then is the customer happy when, I mean, these are questions that the marketing people, is
Mm.
the customer happy with the purchase? That means the kind of treatment he was given when he went to the showroom. And after that, if a salesman were to call, ma'am, you bought this coat, how you feeling about it. And you will see, particularly in the email, e-commerce site, if you have bought something, you will soon get a feedback form that please, you have taken this, let us know how you felt about it. And then they have a questionnaire with, was the supplier correct, did you get it on time, was the dealing polite, were you given enough information by our customer service executive. Okay, now those are all that after buying, you will evaluate that, okay, there also I was treated fairly. Now, the important thing here is, statistically, it has been proven that uh, to get a new customer is 10 times more expensive than to retain an old one. In terms of ad spends, in terms of communication expenses, in terms of number times you need to go. But if you have tried something, I'm sure there are some brands you're fond of, whether it be clothes or something else. You may have a favorite tailor or a boutique. You may have a favorite, let's say, a salon, where you will go. You don't think about it, but you will go there only because of this post purchase. Now, in that case, those businesses don't have to try to acquire your customer anymore, because you are there for them. So they don't need to advertise to you. They don't need to reach out to you. They don't need to, in other words, woo you. But if you were to try and make a new customer each time, now here I'll give you one example. Coca-Cola? Nagmani, are you there? Okay, I'll give you an example. Now, Coca-Cola,
I am there. Actually, the screen was. I am unable to come to that screen. Okay.
oh, it's not coming?
No, sir. To unmute, I am unable to that. No, I mean mobile was little struck.
Okay, now it's okay?
Okay, sir.
Okay, so I'm giving you an example.
Huh.
You know Coca-Cola and you know Pepsi.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the story goes like this, that when Pepsi came much after Coca-Cola, and Coca-Cola had become a way of life in America, and
Yes.
world copies America, so it's become a kind of the iconic brand.
Okay.
But when Pepsi came, they were so badly off and they were desperate to sell, and they were not able to sell.
Mm.
Okay. So they thought that they should sell the business and close it. Now, while closing the business, they said, who will buy us for the right price? And they realized that the machinery and everything is similar to what is with Coca-Cola.
Okay.
So the board of directors of Pepsi or PepsiCo went together, took an appointment with the Coca-Cola guys, and went to meet their board of directors. However, they were treated very rudely, and they were kind of actually kicked out of the Coca-Cola office, and Coca-Cola people laughed at them. So when they came back to their office, they were very, very, very angry. And they said, no, now we are not going to sell. We have to teach Coca-Cola a lesson, and they should need to know how to behave.
Oh.
So what did they do? Okay. Everywhere it was Coke, Coke, Coke. So like if Coca-Cola sold 10 cans of Coke, they were not even able to sell one can of Coke. It was that bad. So they realized, and then they looked at this information processing that we talked about, and all this that we talked about, and they realized one thing, one character which was intrinsic.
Okay.
We have all grown up, and at one stage when we were the youth, uh, we used to resent kind of authority. Okay,
Okay.
if our parents said something, we would try to question it, or at least try and rebel in some way or the other. However, because they had controls over us, we listened to them. So they tried to make use of this particular thing. And in the process, it was around that time, there was a singer who was becoming very famous by the name Michael Jackson, because he had a very funny way of dancing during those times,
Oh.
okay, which is called moonwalking.
Oh.
So they made him the brand ambassador,
Mm.
and they tried to appeal. Everything that they did was to appeal to the youngsters, forgot about the senior people or the parents.
Okay.
Now, it is well known that whenever the Americans went out to eat, first that's how it started.
Mm.
So father or mother would say, "What do you want? What do you want?" And then they say, "Please bring me a pitcher of Coca-Cola."
Mm.
So the
Okay.
youngsters would normally say, "No, no, no, please make mine Pepsi." Now
Oh.
that was acceptable to the parents, that okay, if they want to have it, there's no problem. Okay,
Okay.
it's almost the same thing. So over a period of time, Pepsi started growing up.
Okay.
Okay. And then for every 10 cans that Coca-Cola sold, it reached about 6 or 7.
Okay.
So, and that happened very quick.
Okay.
And that is why world over, wherever you go, is known as a famous cola wars. I mean, they are always fighting.
Okay.
Now come to India with the same Coca-Cola and Pepsi cola war.
Okay.
You remember in one World Cup, Coca-Cola was awarded the official drink
Okay.
supplier to the teams who were playing. The that time it was that one day series.
Okay.
So what could Pepsi do? Pepsi was out, so they came up with an ad where they actually hired a very famous umpire called Dickie Bird, and he would the whole action was very funny, and they said there's nothing official about it, meaning to say that a drink is a drink and there can't be anything official, and they were able to maintain. But
Okay.
then one more thing happened. I mean, these youngsters now became parents,
Okay.
and they started losing customers, and they were always making new but losing that many. So Pepsi again started.
Okay.
That's when they realized, and one of the things that you can see, and if you remember, Pepsi's official color was white. On that, their logo was blue and red. But now, if you go and see a Pepsi can, it is royal blue, which is which is a kind of saying that it is old school also. So it is these small evaluations that are measured against the long-term memories that we store in our minds. You understand? And therefore,
Yeah.
you have to find a way. This is the last question that is asked. How can I engage this customer again? So this is what Pepsi did, that, okay, I'm losing them. And therefore, they went back to the market to say, why? I mean, what is it that we need to do? And some of these suggestions came in from the market, which they implemented.
Oh.
So that is what this whole thing is about. Now,
Oh.
tell me, how can you apply this in your government situation? The entire thing that we have spoken about.
Mm. But mean, how?
You want to be the best mandal, and you want your department to be the best department in Telangana, right?
Okay.
So who are your competitors? First, other departments are your competitors for the funds that you will get from the government. Hello? Am I
No,
audible?
sir. But
Hello?
department people only.
Yeah.
Hello.
So
Ah,
you
sir.
want,
Department.
so you want other department people not to get as much funds as you do, or you want to get the best part of the funds. How much funds you want, but the government also has limited funds, so they can apportion it to another department, they can apportion it to you. So that is your first competitor, right?
Oh.
Then there are, I don't know how many mandals are there in Telangana.
Sir, okay. 530, sir. 530. 530.
Yeah. So you
Hello.
want to, yeah, okay.
530,
Yeah.
sir.
So yes. So your department has now received fund. Now you want the maximum funds to be allocated to you. So that can only be allocated when you are the best. Okay. So what will you do? Otherwise, you are constantly chasing and you're wasting so much of your energy.
बीच में आपका वॉइस रुक गए हैं आप कितना मंडल से तेलंगाना में पूछ रही हो
हाँ, you said 530, right?
हाँ यस सर
हाँ, तो 530 mandal में अब let's say 100 crores has come to your department. Now that
Okay.
has to be divided in 530 mandals.
ओके
So it is never divided equally. It will be divided on the kind of potential that each mandal shows.
हाँ नीड
Right.
बेस्ड हाँ
Yeah, correct. So if you need to sell, so it's not only need based, it is need based to begin with, but after that, if the fund is given, how have you performed? Okay,
Sir.
so that is to kind of establish trust, okay, in you or faith in you. So that next year when you want to go and say, okay, we have done this, these are our achievements, and now we need to do this because it is necessary. So the department will believe you more than, let's say, a mandal which has not performed even what it had promised.
ओके
Okay, so the same process will go through. Now here the customer is first the government and next your department.
ओके
And then there is a consumer who is your village, the mandal that you are managing, people living there, because they
Okay.
must consume and they must give a good review.
यस सर
So think about how you can kind of apply this. Okay, so first think about those two models and how it is applicable to your department.
यस सर
If Yogesh was there, I would have asked how he would be using it in the financial sector. If
Okay.
Anant was there, I would ask him how would he using it in his retailing, sari retailing or sari wholesaling.
ओके
But this is something which will happen.
ओके
Okay. Now with this, are there any questions?
नो नो सर
Okay. So with this, I will end the session today, maybe about 8 minutes before. But now we will detail a consumer, and then we will discuss a few more topics about how we communicate, which means what are the objectives, why we want to do it, how do we set them, then what should be the budget, because
Okay.
nobody wants to spend unless there is a return.
ओके
So we want to set up, and then would be the actual strategy. How would we approach them? And then what is the medium or media that we will adopt, and how would we adopt?
ओके
So this is what we will do. Now the next session is going to be on Friday.
ओके
Okay.
सर
All right. So this is all for today. And I hope you are feeling well completely and doing nicely.
Okay. Okay. Mean I have to become actually. It's not. I'm not perfect now health wise.
No, you should take care. Health comes first,
हाँ.
particularly when you're working, and then there might be family responsibilities. So take care of that too.
Sure sir. Sure.
Okay. So we'll meet now 7:30 on
Okay sir.
Saturday. Okay.
Okay.
And then we'll meet again on Tuesday. So there I told you what all I will be doing. Now I'm going deeper into how the customer behaves, what is the process and all that.
Okay.
All right. All the
Okay.
best then. Madam.
Okay.
Thank you for coming.
Okay. Thank you sir.